please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Midcap Radar. I'm Sumaira Abdi and with me is Reema Tendulkar. Hi, Reema. Good afternoon. Although it looks like we're wrapping up the week, or no, not on a very good note. So the market has been pretty flat. We're down about a quarter% near the lows of trade right now. The Midcap index has been underperforming from the word get-go, and it's a lot of these banking, metal stocks under pressure. I think, in fact, if not for IT, the bulls would be almost silent today.
Yes, indeed. Infosys and TCS combined are contributing 50 points on the upside. So if it wasn't for that, I think the Nifty would be down closer to about 75 to 80 points. In fact, as we speak, the markets are at the day's low, with the Bank Nifty now down close to about 250 points. Let's take a look at the top headlines and then we'll get chatting about individual stocks. Straight away then, let's address the market technicals. Ashwani Gujral joins in now. Ashwani, since the last time we spoke, the markets have weakened a tad bit. The Bank Nifty is now down close to about 1%. Are you sensing just for the near term, momentum is weakening?
See, the problem today is that maybe by end of the day, IT index could close at the highs of the day, whereas the Bank Nifty maybe could close at the lows of the day. So that way, that does not leave us with a lot of conclusions about the market. So my sense is that if 4.5% won't have happened on IT, and it can't happen tomorrow also. So at some point, if IT becomes quiet, then what happens to the market? Because other than IT, I think the rest 10, 12 sectors all are negative. So that would mean that you would call this a weak market. So that way, possibly for tomorrow, the signs would be that you could even go lower. But having said that, for the moment, V-Guard is a buy with a stop of 248, target of 262. Just Dial is a sell with a stop of 457, target of 440. And Canara Bank is a sell with a stop of 265, target of 250. Now, just that we are dealing with two trend days, one on Bank Nifty, one on IT. And trend days often have the biggest gain in the last hour. So in case, one of these guys is going to have further gains or further losses, in IT or Bank Nifty respectively. So that people should watch out for which way the cookie crumbles.
All right, Ashwani, thanks very much for joining in with your afternoon trades. Let's go across now to the management of Mahindra CIE, the company that reported strong Q4 numbers.
Fingers crossed that happens. On India, where there was some concern when we broke up the results of 26% growth in consolidated revenue into India and Europe, India has been able to grow at about 15%. Okay. The EBITDA has grown 15% to reach the 15% mark, which is what CIE has benchmarked. The EBITDA growth, however, is 49% year on year. EBIT growth has been 71%, and profit before tax growth has been at 88%. Many people had questioned what would happen in Europe. The European sales have grown by 26% year. The EBITDA in Europe has grown by 27%. EBIT has grown by 35%, and earnings before taxes or profit before taxes have grown by 46%. We were all asked at the board meeting yesterday by the analysts on the call this morning whether this momentum can be maintained, and I think it can. And I'm very grateful to our customers, our team, and everybody else who has made this happen. And I look forward to, for those of you who want to follow-up questions, I'm more than happy to respond to them from each of those. Are you not broadcasting this live? तो नहीं है ना?
सर live live.
Strong number, strong quarter for Mahindra CIE. Revenues up 32%, margins improved to 12.1% versus 9.5%. Stock is up close to about 2.25%. But the story of today is clearly TCS and the positive outlook by the management about FY19, even in the BFSI sector. It's lifted the spirits of all the other IT companies. Earlier today, I spoke with the management of TCS, the CEO and MD Rajesh Gopinath, COO NG Subramaniam, and they were talking about the growth outlook for the company. Listen in.
Realistically speaking, we are happy that we are on a double-digit trajectory. So we've broken into double-digit on a dollar terms. On the constant currency, it is still work in progress. Our focus, our determination, everything is to try and get to the double-digit mark on all parameters, whether it's constant currency or dollar denominated. But we'd rather wait for the next few quarters before we actually commit to that number. But we think that there is an opportunity out there, and we are very, very focused on maximizing on that opportunity.
So say not in FY19, but FY20, do you think it's quite likely? You're talking about it being work in progress. So 1 year hence?
That's the plan, but as I said, we'll call it when we see it.
Okay, so the plan is that double-digit growth likely by FY20 onwards, 1 year hence. The commentaries turn a lot more bullish on BFS. In the press conference, you indicated that perhaps it's bottomed out. What is the evidence on the ground that it's improved for TCS, and this increase in spend perhaps is not directed to the captives or the in-house centers of large banks?
So I think there are 2 or 3 evidences. First is contrary to the co-located agile that they were practicing, increasingly they were moving towards a more location independent distributed agile methods, right, which should give a chance for us to play in a much bigger way. That's the first point. The second point is that we are seeing enormous amount of demand, in areas like security, in areas like digital, in areas like blockchain, and so on, right. So coupled with these two things, I think we believe that we have bottomed out. And the third is that we have also talked to our clients, right. I think beginning of the year, so we went and talked to them. We believe that their budgets are holding good in the IT side of it. In the operation side of it, they are increasingly adopting automation, and they may be they are expecting about 10 to 15% productivity over there in the operation side. So we believe that there is a reasonable amount of opportunities for us to play, and that's what gives us the confidence.
So just to add to that point, in your conversation with clients, how soon can the client budgets close? Can it happen in Q1 and growth perhaps reflect in the Q1 of FY19 for TCS? And how much would the spending be more compared to, say, last year? You're talking about 15% of productivity gains. Can the entire amount be plowed back into increased IT spends by these clients?
Well, I think so, because, just like our financial year, their financial year is from January to December. So we see some of those budgets already started to kick in, from at least from a banking financial services perspective. But, the cautious side of it is that, look, we'll wait for 1 more quarter and confirm that the banking financial services is really, on the upward tick for us.
But can it grow in Q1, close to company average?
I think we have the opportunities, and I believe so.
Okay. So Rajesh, X of BFSI, are you confident the other verticals can see a double-digit growth?
I'm fairly confident about that. So the other weak sector was retail.
Yeah.
In retail, we actually have the deal wins, and the pipeline is also very strong. So we see much more direct visibility in retail, and we are quite confident that retail should be able to deliver a double-digit in the year. And that's where the
Any lower at the index level. The Bank Nifty is taken on its chin today, down close to about 1%. But in key earnings to track today, Indiabulls Housing will be reporting Q4 numbers. Abhishek joins in with the expectations. Abhishek?
Well, Rima, it has been a consistent performer in terms of delivering loan growth, spreads, and the asset quality. So loan growth between 30 to 35% will be positive. Last quarter it was at 32%. The spread, that is the difference between yield on advances and cost of funds, that about 3.1% will be positive. Last quarter it was at 3.22%. The asset quality has largely remained stable for Indiabulls Housing Finance. So gross NPA below 0.9% will be positive. Last quarter it was at 0.77%. Our polls suggest an NII and profit growth of around 24.5%. Back to you.
All right, Abhishek, thanks very much for that. Well, just a quick word on the market now, because it looks like there's some slight bit of recovery in the Nifty as such. So it's now down only about 14 odd points. Let's just take a quick look at some of the stocks which are doing well. So ITC, that stock is now up about half odd percent. We should pull it up in the last few minutes, or it has actually risen 1%. So that's a big mover. It's HCL Tech is another one that's climbed to the high point of the day, about 5% higher over there. And a lot of these auto names, so Bajaj Auto, Eicher Motors, well, both are in the red, but they seem to be moving higher. But let's also talk about the metal pack. Today in trade, we are seeing some bit of weakness over there, also some weakness in aluminum stocks. But I think overall, the trend for aluminum stocks looks quite positive. At least that's what the NALCO management told us. Nigel is here with us to break it down. Nigel, how does it look?
Well, you know, all these three stocks, NALCO, Hindalco, as well as Vedanta, they are seeing some profit booking in today's trading session. Now, overnight, what's happened is, in the last couple of trading sessions, aluminum prices, that's LME aluminum, went all the way to around $2,700 on a per ton basis. That's corrected by close to around 10%, currently trading at around $2,450 on a per ton basis. Why did this prices correct? Well, there are talks and there are in fact reports that suggest that there could be nationalization of RUSAL. That's the big aluminium producer. There's also reports that in fact there could be a state push that comes in there and in fact nationalizes RUSAL. Now remember, the billionaire from Russia, that's Oleg Deripaska, there was a sanction that was levied on him and various other businessmen. So that's why, in fact, we have seen that RUSAL has virtually shut down. Remember, in fact, it employs more than 100,000 employees. And that's why there could be an effort to go in there and save RUSAL. Why is RUSAL, though, important for the aluminium market? Because it produced last year close to around 3.5 million tons. That amounts to nearly around 5 to around 6% of the total global production. And if ex-China, well, then it accounts for nearly around 12 to around 13% odd. So the big question really is, will RUSAL restart production and will it ramp up to the 3.5 million tons? That's going to be crucial for movement in terms of aluminium. However, we here on CNBC TV18, we spoke to NALCO earlier today, and the management sounded extremely bullish on the outlook of alumina as well as aluminium prices. Let's hear him out.
Aluminium prices in past, it has gone 3,000 and above during the heydays of metal market, and now market is completely driven by shortage, because with sanction against RUSAL and some of the aluminium plants not producing to their capacity, now the market has gone into quite shortage. So we hope that prices will still continue. We are expecting that somewhere between 2,900 to 3,000 the prices will be there. For every $20 increase over the last year's realization in aluminum, we get an additional EBITDA of 170 crores. And for every $40 increase in aluminum over the last year's realization, we get an additional EBITDA of 120 crores. So with this level of price, if we take $600 as the average price, which will be remaining for some time, and aluminum price, I am taking around 2,550. So there will be a doubling of the EBITDA, and it will have a strong impact, because EBITDA will move somewhere to 40%.
Okay, the management of NALCO is optimistic, but the stock is down 3%. Bear in mind, it's seen a 30% rally in the last 1 month from levels of 65 to above 85. So it's just seeing some amount of profit booking on the back of the fall in aluminium prices overnight. But sticking with metals and commodities, CNBC TV18's Kevin Lee caught up with the SEAL's Secretary Aruna Sharma to get a more detailed understanding on the impact of the US import tariffs imposed by Donald Trump. A slice of that conversation.
We don't want any market internationally to be close to us or putting India steel exporters to a disadvantage. So presently, through Ministry of Commerce, it has already gone them to extend that exemption even for India, because we are a security hazard to be clubbed under 232 tariff ban. So let's see what happens there.
And ma'am, speaking a little bit about insolvency cases, now 4 out of those 12 accounts that the RBI had recommended for the insolvency process are steel companies. We've seen quicker resolution in these companies compared to some companies from other sectors. I know what answer you have in mind and what you're going to say, but let me ask you specifically on a company that has completed the process. Electro Steel has become the first company to complete that resolution process. can we expect the capacity of these steel companies that were under other promoters first to go up, and can we see a significant ramp up? Is it going to affect the steel sector in India in a positive way because they're with new promoters
See,
now?
what you have said is that one of the company has completed the process of NCLT. There are few more formalities it has to undergo with. So let's wait for entire formalities to be over. And we are very sure that any new label which will be coming to Electro Steel will be running it efficiently, because they are the only one who make DI pipes. And more steel in the pipes will be going in the market. There will be a potential of using them for sewage, drainage, for water before filtration. So the market is a big potential. So any wise businessman definitely must be having some plan of expansion and efficiency productions.
You mentioned earlier that steel sector has seen an uptick from 2016-17, and this should continue for the next few years. You also mentioned that even these companies which are under the insolvency process are still producing steel because now it's profitable to produce steel. But can we see a significant increase in their production capacities once they are taken over by a new promoter?
They are running lesser than their capacity. So there is a scope to expand in the existing capacity. And definitely the new promoter looking at the markets will have a plan for further expansion, because they have good facilities, the plant is running well, good quality plants, so we are very optimistic about it.
And about the ultimate mission to reach 300 million tons of capacity?
Should not be a problem. We have already reached 134, which we did not expect to reach within 1 year time. So we have reached 134. We will reach 150 by 2020.
All right, and a lot of other stocks too are buzzing and in the news. Anisha is here with a quick list. Anisha.
Thank you, Samara, for that. First up, Eveready is coming under a bit of pressure because remember, 170 crore penalty is what has been imposed in the case of cartelization against the company. So that one is down about in trade. Cyient came out with an inline set of numbers. The brokerages are positive. Edelweiss has upgraded the target price, whereas Morgan Stanley says that the company is expected to outperform over the next 60 days versus the index. So that one is in focus. Now, apart from TCS, Cyient and the rupee weakening, the Midcap index is also higher as far as the IT is concerned, because stocks like Mindtree, KPIT, NIIT Tech, they're all buzzing in trade. Mindtree, of course, has been on an upswing since its numbers has been declared. Moving on to Fortis, overnight we heard the 5th offer coming in for the company, and now we understand that marquee names like Renuka Ramnath and Lalit Bhasin have been a part of the independent committee that is going to evaluate the bid, so that is a positive for that. Ahead of numbers, a couple of companies are buzzing. HDFC Bank comes out with numbers tomorrow. Bharti Infratel is on Monday. Both of them are in focus ahead of that. It is Friday, and alcohol stocks, like always, are buzzing on Friday. So we have Pioneer Distilleries up about in trade. Radico Khaitan is also trading higher. And just a couple more of buzzing stocks. We have Max Financial doing well, up around 8%. And Wellspun India is also excited this Friday afternoon. Back to you.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Anisha. In the IT pack, even Tata Elxsi is a stock which has gone ahead and scaling fresh peaks. So now it's seen a rally of close to about 2.5%, fresh 52-week high on that. This is a company which provides software for auto majors. So largely your infotainment system in cars. So the R&D is provided by Tata Elxsi. So 50% of the company's revenues comes in from the automotive sector. And because autos are doing so well, and there are new models which are coming out every time, they're upgrading the infotainment system with every model. Tata Elxsi is a beneficiary of that. So on a side note, apart from the enthusiasm around IT, that's one element about Tata Elxsi. We'll slip into a very short break on that note.